Welcome, everyone. I'm John Ryan, and this is the NBA Triple Double Show powered by SportsMemo TV and the cast of predictive playbook shows. And as always, I have my co host and partner, professional sports betting guru, Ronald Cabang, in the house. Welcome to the show, Ronald. We're going to get right at it here. We have two games on the board tonight, and the first one is the Chicago Bulls, which I saw that. Quote out of the Gold Sheet, Ronald, which I encourage people to subscribe to as well over at Sports Memo and Wager Talk. Back in the Rocky movies, when Clever Lang was chasing down Rocky, he actually said, "The Bulls can run, but they can't hide." And give credit to the Gold Sheet for that kind of humorous introduction to the game. But there's more seriousness to this than meets the eye, I think. It's hard to make a case for Chicago to pull off the win, being a 12.5 point road underdog. But they are 3-0, the Bulls are, this season as double-digit road underdogs. And Milwaukee is not good as a double-digit home favorite either. They're 5-9 on the season of 10 or more points as a home favorite. They're 15-25 as a home favorite of any size. I don't know if that is enough to offset the overwhelming evidence that supports Milwaukee in this game or not. But what do you see in this matchup, and any of your betting thoughts about this matchup?
Yeah, I think one big thing here is Levine is out, I believe for the Bulls, so that's gonna hinder their offense, and the Bulls already have been struggling offensively to begin with. They've failed to go over 95 points in three of the four games so far. The Bulls have, like you mentioned, the Bulls have been double-digit dogs only three times this season. They covered each time, and they all three games went under as well. So that's another thing to note. On the Bucks side, they are 19-7 straight up, but 10-16 against the spread as home favorites in conference games. But if you add that their opponent has a winning record, like a playoff contending type team, they're 8-5 straight up and just 2-11 against the spread in those situations. I think this game is going to be similar to Game One of the series, which ended 93-86 with the Bucks coming out with the W. The first game home on that side, it's sort of like a travel situation. Another interesting note: the Bulls have played the Bucks twice already this season without Levine. They covered the game in January, losing 90-94, and then they failed to cover the game earlier this month on April 5th. They lost 127-106, but the Bucks had a full squad with Middleton, and then Vucevic and went 3 for 19 from the field, and Caruso went 0 for 6. I don't think those things happen again for those two guys. To me, here I'm leaning towards the Bulls to cover the large spread, but the Bucks to close this one out to finish the series.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the play is the Bulls, but I guess I'm entitled to a little boasting from our show yesterday. That in-game strategy with betting Minnesota Timberwolves first half line that obviously won. Not only that, but they were leading at the half. And, I'm just mentioning this again so everybody can write it down, remember it. And
Mm-hmm.
in-game home favorites that are losing at the half, you bet them, and getting that in-game line, it's now 80% winners. So I doubt whether that's going to happen tonight with Chicago actually leading at the half. But we're talking NBA playoff teams, and anything can and will happen. But that was yeah. After the show, Ronald, I thought, like, well, what? Why did I tell people to bet on both teams? 'Cause that's basically what we were doing. First half Minnesota, second half
Yeah.
Memphis. But it worked, and I actually did the in-game at halftime on the Bucks, as I said I was going to, and that was pretty darn good stuff. I thought it was going to go overtime there, but it didn't happen. Um, when you think about that series, and we're going to talk about that tomorrow, but that series could easily have been already won by the Timberwolves if these big, huge leads weren't blown. But
Yeah.
all that matters is the final score. So, what if, should have, could have
Hmm.
club applies to the Timberwolves, but we'll have to see what happens next in that one. With that in game strategy, I don't see any opportunity in this game at all to consider, doing first half with Chicago. I think it was you that said it, Ron. Milwaukee has a tendency of starting out slow when they are a larger favorite, and I think that's why their
Hmm.
double-digit home favorite record is not good.
Hmm.
But I don't have enough evidence. I don't have enough anecdotal evidence from the models and the data to support the Bulls, other than if they would get down 15 to 17 points in that. If the line would go to 15 or 17 in the first quarter, I might be tempted then to join them. All right, let's move on
Hmm.
to the next one here. And it's the last one, actually.
Yeah, two
The Denver
games today.
Nuggets. Yeah, just two, right? Denver at Golden State. And this game's 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time at the Chase Center. And again, we have a matchup that looks like it's a mismatch here now that we're playing in California. And Denver almost blew it in that previous game. You could see the screws being tightened by the Warriors defense, and lo and behold, they actually had a 2-point lead with under a minute to go, but that game too didn't kind of work out for the Warriors. But they are now, I don't know what the actual line is right now, but they're like 9.5 point favorites here, and I think they get the job done too. What's your initial take on this matchup?
Yeah, I think this is a game that I'm probably going to wait on to see where the line ends before I place any type of bet on this game because I think the Warriors do come out with the win tonight and close out the series at home. But with that said, I like the way that the line is moving. It did open up at 9. I think it did touch 9.5 last night, and now it's down to 8. From what I've seen prior to the show. So if I feel like I kind of feel like I can probably get a -7.5 or -7 closer to tip off, and that's where I want to probably grab the Warriors there. But I mean, this is similar to the Wolves and the Grizzlies type of series where we mentioned yesterday the depth and the defense of the Grizzlies were going to kind of take over in the second half. I kind of see that type of situation here with the Warriors and the Nuggets. I mean, in this last game that the Nuggets won, the Warriors out rebounded them overall in the whole game. They attempted 13 more field goals. The Warriors forced more turnovers. They scored more points in the paint than the Nuggets. But what the Nuggets did exceptionally well was shoot from the field. They shot 56% from the field, almost 50% from three, 15 for 31. And then they shot 36 free throws, making 29 of them. I mean, that's always tough when you kind of take over the game in certain aspects, but then another team kind of just shoots way better than they normally do. Um, that's always tough to get the loss in that way, and that's why you kind of saw the Warriors come back in the second half in that game because things kind of started to even out. Typically when that happens for the Nuggets after they have a shooting game like that over 50%, they're 9-23 against the spread following games. Following games, they shoot over 50% from the field, and if they shoot over 55%, they're 2-9 against the spread. So we're looking at sort of a letdown spot here on the Nuggets side. I think this is a spot where the Nuggets probably stay close early, then the depth and the defense can take over for the Warriors in the second half, similar to how the Grizzlies did it yesterday. And some of the trends on the Warriors side, 20-6 straight up, but just 13, 11-2 against the spread as home favorites in conference games this season. But if you add that their opponent has a winning record, they're 9-2 straight up and 8-2-1 against the spread. So they play up to their opponent's level in these type of situations. And also they're strong in revenge situations, 12-4 straight up and against the spread in revenge spots. So to me, the signs are pointing towards the Warriors. I would just like to get a better number than 8 or 9. So if I see a 7.5 or a 7, I might take it.
Yeah, and again, that segues right into the live in-game betting, folks. If you're not satisfied with the number that you see, you want to get something cheaper. The probability that you'll be able to get the Warriors at, I'm going to say 5.5, at some point during the first half is pretty high. It's not certainly guaranteed, and that's the one negative with doing in-game. You can do 50% pre-flop at the line of whatever it is right now, and then take 25%, add at 5.5 and save that other 25% for 3.5 if it gets there. Denver is a playoff team. They're fully capable of taking a lead through the first quarter, and that's what you would need through the first quarter to get down to those numbers. So I like that idea quite a bit. I also like the under in this game, Ronald. I think this game plays under the total, and there's a little betting system here I'm going to mention. You're going to play under the total in regular season and playoff games that are 210 points or greater. That has one team, this being Golden State, coming off an upset loss as a road favorite and has a win percentage of at least 60%, playing another team that has a winning record. And that has hit 65.7% over the last 25 NBA regular and playoff seasons, and hits 64% if it's just playoff games. And again, that supports the under, which I kind of like. So, 2 games. And before we go any further, I just wanted to mention this promo here that SportsMemo put out for us. $99 NBA playoff pass for both of us. We're both in the 70% range. I'm something like 15-4 now, the last 19, and won last night, which ended my 3-game losing streak. So at one point there, we were 14-1. That was a pretty good stretch. And you're doing the same thing.
That's awesome.
I was
9-3.
You were 9-3. Yep.
Yeah.
And then you 4-1 the previous night. So you're running definitely around 75% as well. So you can get each one of us for just $99 each, and I hope you take advantage of it. We're doing pretty good here. So with the Western Conference, or the Eastern Conference set up right now, Boston has become the favorite, and a pretty big one, matter of fact, like plus 180, and I see absolutely no value in that. However, they are a 2 seed. And as I mentioned on a show last week, the 2 seeds actually make the greatest number of appearances in the finals of any seed. And no seed below 5. Only a 5 seed has appeared once in the finals. And 6, 7, 8 have never appeared in the finals. So, take that with what it's worth. But, Boston is, I think, the team to beat because of that defense. And if the referees continue to allow them to play that physical, really, the only team that has a chance to beat them is the one that's coming up next with the Heat. How do you see the Eastern Conference evolving here?
Yeah, I mean, right now, what I'm seeing is probably the top 3 would probably be Miami, Milwaukee, and Boston. Whoever wins this Philly-Toronto series, it's going to be tough just because, they're dealing with a lot of injuries right now, and most of these other teams are pretty healthy. I mean, obviously, so the Bucks are missing Middleton, but I think he'll be back for the second series. So I think as far as health wise and overall, just like team chemistry and things like that, I'm leaning towards those top 3 guys. Those 3 to be the top teams in the East. This Boston and Milwaukee series is going to be tough. I mean, the series ain't over yet, but I'm expecting the Bucks to win the series. But if it's the Bucks and the Celtics, that's probably going to be the one to watch in the second round. Defensively, I mean, Boston is back to full strength. Robert Williams has shown, he's overcome that injury that he was dealing with to start off the first round. And on the Bucks side, it really is. Hopefully, Middleton gets back and healthy in the second round. So that series is going to be awesome to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And then in the Western Conference, I'm just pulling up the odds right now. For those competitors, the Warriors are now plus 150, Suns plus 220, Grizzlies plus 400, excuse me, Mavericks 600, Jazz 20-1, Pelicans 66-1. The one that is a real flyer here is obviously the Timberwolves. They've been a fun team to watch, and they probably don't win the series, but throwing like a pizza money bet on the Timberwolves at plus 8,000, which is 80-1. I mean, that, $10 pizza times 80, that's a lot of food coming in the house at that point.
Yeah.
But I don't know how realistic it is. I just throw it out there. But how do you break down the favorites? I guess the Warriors, Suns, Grizzlies, and where they are in the bracket. And I mean, it just seems like it's a collision course for these teams to meet in their Western Conference final.
Hmm. You know, I think if Memphis and Golden State end up being that conference finals, or sorry, the second round matchup, that one's going to be really tough just because I think those two teams match up really well. And I mean, obviously the Warriors are going to be shooting the three ball. The Memphis is going to be, scoring a lot in the paint because Golden State doesn't have a lot of rim protection. Um, so that one's kind of like a clash of offensive styles. But as far as like defensively, I mean, both teams are very athletic and both teams are deep. On the other side, you got Phoenix. If they make it, and if Dallas makes it, that one's also going to be tough because Booker might still be out. From what I know, I think his time frame to come back will kind of lead into that second round matchup if both teams win the next one. Um, so that one's going to be tough too. And Dallas is kind of uh, controlling this Utah team at the moment. Yeah, I don't know. I think both, to be honest, both sides are really wide open. There's no real head-on favorite in my opinion, just
Yeah.
because there's so much more than the teams themselves. They're dealing with injuries, and that in itself in the playoffs is tough because you want that roster continuity going throughout. You want that chemistry kind of flowing through the whole playoffs, and with all the injuries happening, it's tough. But yeah, I don't know. Both sides I feel like are wide open.
Yeah, and I think if there's value here, I think the Sixers at plus 550 to win the Eastern Conference. They're obviously not playing well right now, but
Hmm.
this is an opportunity, in my opinion, that you're buying them cheap. And I do think they'll win Game 6 and prevent a Game 7 disaster.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, they can't play any worse than they did, and the likelihood that they pop back to an above average performance is pretty high, the way I see it. So that's 550 is pretty good. Interesting enough, the Raptors then jump up to 50 to 1 plus
Hmm.
5,000. So the market is telling us that the Sixers will win the series in advance.
Hmm.
So now we have this is hard this time because we only have two games to do our best bet. Um, but if I'm going to start out with the under in the Warriors game based on that system that I mentioned before. And if you
Hmm.
didn't write it down, it is right here. It is. We're gonna bet on the under in a game with a total of 210 points or more in the regular or playoff seasons. That's coming off a upset loss as a road favorite, which the Warriors were in that game at Denver. And that team must have a win percentage of over 60% and playing another winning record team that has hit 65.7% over the last 25 years, and it's hit 64% to the under in the playoffs. So I will bet the under as a 3% best bet for the show.
Hmm.
You're next.
I think I think I'm gonna go with the Bulls to cover the double digit spread here. I think it's too large. Uh, I think they'll stick around till the end. Probably they might lose by like 8 or 9 points, but that's still 3 points clear of the number here. So to me, I like the Bulls to cover the spread.
Yeah, and I support that as well. The Bulls are 3-0, folks, against the spread as a double digit road dog. And as a double digit home favorite, the Bucks are just 5-9 on the season. So I like that. I like that side quite a bit as well. So that'll take care of our show for today. So I didn't bring you back there. It's hard to multitask here. We gotta get another
It's all
producer
good.
to do it. But yeah, make sure you get over to sportsmo.com and you get the rest of the NBA playoffs from Ronald and myself, $99 each, and that's saving you well over $149. So it's less than half right now. And I honestly do not know how long it's going to be promoted, but I think it's through Friday. But why would you wait? Today's
Mhm.
Wednesday. There's two games. I have a 5%er going tonight. So I'm 7-1 against the spread, as Ronald knows, in my 5% max bets, and it's up there now, and it's locked in for tonight. So hopefully that play will come through for everyone. Ronald, do you have anything special going on at sportsmemo.com today?
Nothing up there yet. Usually, I have my games posted a little bit later in the day just because I want more information. But just to know, going off of that $99, to finish off the rest of the playoffs with us, I did finish last season's playoffs 12-0. So, when the
That's
games get
awesome.
tighter, that's how I ended up being first place. I actually took over first place during the playoff run. So, um, yeah, I mean when the games get tighter and you're able to focus on games, like one game specifically, that's when you can make the best decisions. There's not a lot of noise on the outside, so yeah, hopefully you guys take advantage of that deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. Yeah, 12-0. That's a heck of a way to finish. You probably hated it
Yeah,
that the season was over, but
exactly. That was the first thing I said. Yeah.
yep. Anyway, to everybody that's watching this show, thank you very much as always. And we'll be back again tomorrow. Ronald and I will be on Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another edition of the NBA Triple Double Show powered by Sports Memo TV. And until then, always remember the two things I like saying: bet with your head, not over it, and may all the wins be yours. We'll see you tomorrow.